If you want to have a better understanding of the lethal trauma triad, then stop thinking about it as a lethal trauma triad and start thinking about it as a lethal trauma circle. So a patient gets injured and they suffer some pretty significant hemorrhage. And now they enter a shock state and they are in anaerobic metabolism, which creates lactic acid. So they're in a state of acidosis. They're bleeding, and so they're losing clotting factors, and so they're also in a state of hypocoagulopathy. They're having difficulty forming clots. They're bleeding, and so they're losing the thing that's keeping them warm, so they're in a state of hypothermia. So now we say that they're in the lethal trauma triad. But that really just doesn't describe what's happening. It sounds like three individual components that are isolated away from each other that are negatively affecting the patient. But here's the thing. If you're in a state of acidosis, that state of acidosis negatively impacts your ability to form clots. And if you're in a state of hypocoagulopathy where you can't form clots, you're losing the thing that's keeping you warm. And so that's creating and exacerbating a state of hypothermia. But if you're hypothermic, that is also not conducive to forming clots. So that intensifies that hypocoagulopathy, which intensifies that lactic acidosis. And it's like a circle that's spinning both ways at the same time, negatively impacting the patient. And then you add normal saline to the mix, which has no oxygen carrying capacity. It has a pH of 5.5. It has no clotting factors, and it can be anywhere from 20 to 40 degrees cooler than your normal body temperature. And so they're not just now in a circle of death, they're in a whirlpool of death, a lethal trauma whirlpool of death.